This is Conversations with the Citizen. I'm your host, Tia Carol Jones. I'm here today with Dr. Johnnie Thomas, Superintendent of Rich Township High School District 227. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I truly appreciate you giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am a Chicagoan through and through. I grew up on the west side of Chicago. Went to high school at Lane Tech on the north side of Chicago. Was blessed enough to get a full football scholarship to the University of New Mexico out in Albuquerque. And so being a young African-American male who had never been on an airplane, my first trip was to my university, and I learned a lot out west. From there, I traveled back. I got my bachelor's degree from Southern Illinois University in Carbondale. I began working for the Department of Children and Family Services for about 4 years, just doing child welfare work. In doing that work, I came across some of the saddest situations that you would see children in and wanted to be a positive influence in their life. And so the only time I saw those children happy is when they went to see their therapist. So I asked the therapist, how did you become a therapist? And that person pointed me back to the field of social work. And so I went back to school. I got my master's of social work from Loyola University here in Chicago. Was doing work with that degree. I worked at Hartgrove Hospital on the west side of Chicago. Was the director of the adolescent services for the unit. Felt like I still wasn't doing enough for children. So from there, I went back to school. Actually, I became a school social worker for Chicago Public Schools to see if I could have more impact on the social emotional aspect of our children. That was a very long journey for me. Ended up running into a school principal that I was excited to be partnered with because we were the only males in the building at the time. And he told me that he had no plans to help the children. And so I felt like if an individual like that could become a leader, somebody who truly cared about children, could also become a leader and do a good job. So I asked him, how did he become a principal? And ended up going back to school, getting my doctorate from DePaul University here in Chicago, and have been a school administrator now for about 15 years, the last 11 being a school social worker. I mean, a school superintendent, I'm sorry.
Okay. So what was it that led you to pursue the career in education?
Yeah, I was really doing a lot of work in schools, but I think the foundation started with my parents.
Okay.
My mom and my dad often talked about the way that I was going to escape poverty was by receiving a quality education. And that became evident. The more educated I became, the more opportunities became available for me. And so it kind of gave me a roadmap on what I thought we should be doing for others that are in poverty, kind of enlighten them about the importance of education. And so when I went into that school that I described on the south side that I was working in, and the principal looked like me, the staff looked like me, the teachers looked like me, and the teachers were fighting. They were fighting for those children, but they didn't have a quality leader. I felt like, this was an opportunity for me to really hone in on my educational career and become a school leader, and one that could really help benefit our people and our children.
How would you describe Rich Township High School District 227?
I think it's a district that has diverse experiences. I think depending on your interaction, you get a viewpoint. There are some very, very beautiful people that live in the community. They fight every day, not only for their children, but for their community. And so one of the things that I have tried to do in my leadership is to find a way to bring us together as a people. Try to figure a way out to rally support around our most important asset, which is our children, and get them to understand that they have gifts that we need to uncover. And so it has been a beautiful place to work. I've learned a lot. I learned that we as a people have a long way to go in terms of trusting each other and working with each other. But I think that there is that foundation of love that is there that we need to find our way back to.
What would you say is the biggest issue facing schools and the school districts right now?
There are a lot. If I had to hone in, it almost shifts from year to year. But over the last couple of years, I'm really worried about how we support our teachers.
Okay.
I'm really worried about how we support our educators, not only financially, but also social-emotionally. And so as I am charged with, I try to look into the future and not just from a day-to-day perspective of running the organization. And I don't see a pipeline of teachers coming. And so eventually, the talented group of teachers that we have that support our children are going to retire, and rightfully so, because they've put in a lot of work on behalf of the community. But I don't see that next line of teachers coming, and that's a major concern for me as an educator.
How is the district taking lessons learned from the pandemic to inform the way it operates?
I think some of the lessons that we've learned is we have to be patient with each other. I think coming back off the pandemic, there was a lot of trauma there that we didn't anticipate, and so the behaviors of the children were slightly off. The behavior of staff was slightly off. I think there is some sense of normalcy that's coming back, but some of the things that will never come back is the technology, right? It is here to stay in our classrooms. It has opened up different teaching modalities now that we can use to support the education that's happening in our classrooms. And so we're taking full advantage of that by offering career pathways for our students, giving them opportunities to dream about what it is that they want to do with their lives instead of having individuals or systems tell them what they are going to do. And so we are really working hard to be more inspiring than mandating for our children. And I think that that's going to create a more well-rounded individual for our society.
Why did the school want to participate in Project 10 Million, and what was the outcome of that partnership with T-Mobile?
Yeah, at T-Mobile, that was the timing couldn't have been better for us. We were searching for innovation, not only in our classrooms, but at home for our families. And we all know that there's a huge internet divide between communities. And unfortunately, we were one of the communities that didn't have a lot of natural internet support for our students so that they could continue to learn at home. And so the 10 million project with T-Mobile offered us an opportunity to put a mobile hotspot in the hand of every family member that attended Rich Township High School District 227. And so every family in our community has the internet connection. They have the ability to connect. And it has been something that has been a game changer for us because it's easy for us to switch between in-person instruction and remote at home instruction and still have that connectivity for our families. We didn't have to purchase mobile buses that drove into neighborhoods and provided Wi-Fi capabilities. It was just naturally in the home of our children. And so that opened up a whole new world for them where they now could have access and they didn't have to fight over access for internet or computers. That project, in combination of making sure that all of our students had a mobile device that they could take with them, a Chromebook that they could take home with them, was a game changer for our families. And it wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be, right? Because we had to work to establish trust in our children We believed that they were going to steal the devices. We believed that they were going to destroy the devices. We believed that they were going to misuse the devices. And all of that has been very rare in our system. And so it has taught us to believe in our children and believe in the best in them and not always assume the worst in them. And so that in partnership with what we've been doing with technology has been a game changer for us.
And I kind of want to go back to something you said about the educators themselves and the support. How can the community support educators more?
I think we have to come together and rally around the field of education. I think that we have made some decisions about retirement age and pensions and things of that nature, not taking into account what those benefits meant to those who wanted to go into the field of education. Right now in our Tier 2 systems, teachers can't retire until the age of 67. I mean, it's really hard to imagine a 67-year-old kindergarten teacher. And so with us having to compete for talent, and you have other professional organizations that can offer better benefits, better supports, the talent pool is being drawn away from education. And I think we as a community have to figure a way out to inspire the next generation of educators, because if we don't, it's going to be really, really, really tough here moving into the future.
In working with young people, what is the thing they need most, and how does the school district try to meet those needs?
I love that question, because people will argue they need to learn how to read, and they need to learn how to write, and they need to know how to do math, and all of those things are possible if they're loved. And from what I am seeing is we have forgotten about our children. We have forgotten that they need constant praise and admiration from the adults. We need to show up when they're doing positive things and not only when they're doing something negative. We need to promote the positive experiences that they are contributing to our community and to our society. So much of what I see happening with our population of children, which is predominantly black and brown students, is they're only painted in a negative light. And so that begins to become a self-fulfilling prophecy for them. And so we need to get back to showing up when they have a play, showing up when they are performing in the performing arts, show up when they have a spelling bee, and clap and cheer and wrap our arms around them, because that piece is missing. And so they are finding alternative ways to feel loved. And so I think at the end of the day, that is going to be the most important thing that we can do for our children, is to show them love, to show them that we care about them, and give them those positive places that are going to reinforce those good things about them, because there are a lot of good children in our system.
Where can people go to find out more about Rich Township High School District 227?
Well, you can always connect with us on our website, www.richtownshiphighschooldistrict227.org. You can always look us up on social media. You can follow me on social media at Dr. Johnnie Thomas on all platforms, Instagram, TikTok. You can give me a call. My number is available on the website. My cell phone number is available on the website. I'm very accessible to people, because I need as much help as I can get. We recently had a series for our African American males called Black Men Speaks, to bring in the African American male community to speak to our young men, and it was a very difficult task for us. That should not be a difficult task. We should have people lined up wanting to show that love and appreciation that I mentioned earlier. It was very difficult, but we did get some good people in that gave some good nuggets for our children to take with them to help them become more resilient in this world that they're in. And we're doing another series here coming up soon for our young ladies, Black Women Speaks. And so we're going to be inviting African American women to come in and spend time with our young ladies because it is needed. And so as much support as we can get to come into our schools and wrap our arm around our children, we would greatly appreciate that.
Before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like our audience to know?
Yeah, we as a community have been doing a lot of good work. I am also the president of the Superintendent's Commission in the South Suburbs. It represents about 40 African American superintendents across the state of Illinois. On March 1st at the Tinley Park Convention Center, we're having a fundraiser in partnership with the United Negro College Fund. We're trying to double the amount of scholarships that we're giving out to our students, and so information about the fundraiser is available on our website, and I hope to get as many community members there. We'll have our children performing, and it'll be a night of celebration on Black excellence.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Remember to make plans to join us again next week for Conversations with the Citizen, the place where real news